We have HITESH Shah, analyst at IDFC Securities, joining us this morning. HITESH, good morning. I know it's always tricky to talk about an event before it's actually happened, but in qualitative terms, what will you be focusing on when the restated financials of Mahindra SATYAM are released for FY9 and FY10? What are the critical points you'll be looking at?
While what management would be releasing today would be the audited numbers of FY09 and FY10, while FY10 numbers that they'll release would be the recent financial that we have, but it would still not be representative of the current business, because FY10 would include right from the April of 2009 till March of 2010. And what would be key thing to look at is how has been the recurring revenue run rate in this period, because the way IT services business is, even if a client is exiting for a short period of time as a new vendor takes up, there is some tail of revenue. So recurring revenue for FY10 would be the key thing to look at. What has been the recurring revenue run rate specifically in the period of Jan, Feb and March of this calendar year would be some representative of the current business. Incrementally, what I think one would get from Mahindra SATYAM is when they would announce the Q1 and Q2 quarterly result, and which management had said that they would release it by mid-November. So those would be the few key things: the recurring revenue run rate and the Q1 Q2 result.
Fair point. Margin profile will also be important. Of course, employee attrition levels are expected to be higher than the industry average, and that was expected. But what about the margin profile? Any kind of thoughts or numbers or estimates that you're working with?
In our view, margin for FY10 would not be a relevant thing to look at, because company carried a lot of employees on the virtual bench till 31st December 2009 who weren't deployed on the revenue generating projects, but they were still carried on the payroll for a period of 6 months. And hence we would have the cost of those employees but not the revenue from those employees. So margin, whatever they declare for FY10, I don't think would be the right thing to look at, because it would have an additional cost with no corresponding revenue. So I would not be too keenly focused on the margin number. What I have built into my Tech Mahindra estimate is SATYAM would probably just break even or might show a marginal loss in FY10.
Clarity on the
merger. I don't think that is a key number to look at.
Okay. Clarity on the merger ratio between SATYAM Mahindra and Tech Mahindra, of course, is a key event that you'd be looking for, right?
That is right, but we would not get anything on that in next 1 or 2 months. In our view, eventually these two entities have to merge, and the merger would happen in about 2 to 3 quarters from mid of November, which is when the financials of both Mahindra SATYAM and Tech Mahindra would be current. While it's too early to look at the merger ratio, but in our view, the merger ratio is likely to be in the range of 7:1 or 9:1, and we believe that it would be Tech Mahindra which would be merged into Mahindra SATYAM rather than the other way around.
Fair enough. One quick question. We're running out of time. The stock, it's up 23% in a month. Would you say the upside is capped, but the downside risk is pretty high at this stage?
See, there will be a lot of incremental information which would be available over the next 2 months, and yes, Mahindra SATYAM stock would remain slightly more volatile. While we do not rate Mahindra SATYAM, we believe Tech Mahindra is a better vehicle to play the story that would play out between Tech Mahindra and Mahindra SATYAM, and we have an outperformer rating on Tech Mahindra. But Mahindra SATYAM is an unrated stock, so would not be able to comment on the price movement.
Okay, Tech Mahindra, better vehicle to play the story. Thanks very much for joining us this morning. Great getting your perspective here on this important day when the audited financial statements of Mahindra SATYAM for FY9, FY10 are awaited.